Welcome to the Providence City Council meeting Wednesday, July 19th. We're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Kathleen Alder. I'm the mayor of Providence. And we have Jeff Nebeker on the end, Seth, Brent's Beth. Brent's Beth, I'm sorry. Janelle Seeley and Carrie Kirk. And one council member is missing. Josh Wilson had to be out of town and will not be able to be in contact with us. So welcome everyone to the meeting. We will have the Pledge of Allegiance now by Carrie Kirk, if you'd all join us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I've asked one of our community members, Hal Hansen, if he would give us an opening prayer.
Our Heavenly Father, we are so grateful to be gathered here as citizens and officials of our Providence City in this city council meeting to discuss issues pertinent to our city. We ask you to bless us with thy spirit that we'll be able to make good decisions, that everyone will be able to speak their piece, present their presentations in a manner pleasing unto thee. We're grateful for the opportunity to come and be part of our city government. We're grateful for the city officials that work so hard in our city to make our city what it is. Help us to be guided by thy spirit. Bless us with the things thou seest that we need. We say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you so much, Hal. Okay, let's have council reports. Carrie, start with you. It is summer and we've had some pretty light council meetings, so.
It is the youth council. We have a new youth council. We had 24 applicants, many of them returning. And so we kick off the youth council year with the city celebration. So they get ready to be really busy. And so we're just getting set up for the year with the youth council. So I've actually been pretty busy this last week getting that all organized and ready for the year, and the youth are excited to be involved and looking forward to the dance. And we've got that committee started and going, and they texted me today, we'll get back to you and let you know what we decide. So they are figuring it out.
Thank you.
I just got a report from Blacksmith for a Fork Irrigation Company. They said that the season is going really well. Good. Had a few concerns about weeds. I did see some of the weeds have been cut down up along Little Baldy along the vacant lots. I tried addressing what's calling saying there's gravel snakes in the weeds and around the mailbox. So those who have attacked the weeds, appreciate those have not yet. Most other things that I have going on are actually happening later this week. And then I had someone give me an idea for mosquito abatement. So I'll pass on to Jeff that if the day of the month or like the week is posted, that they would like to know something, close their windows.
Tuesday evenings.
Is it every Tuesday?
Every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday. Okay. He said Tuesday, but I didn't know if it was every week or once a month. Yeah, that's all I have.
Brent?
Well, tuning in on emergency preparedness, the current conditions, of course, are ripe for and getting riper for wildfires. Make sure that around home, especially higher up on the bench, you keep it safety zone and cut zone so that when the weeds are down, they burn slower and don't perpetuate as fast as across the ground. So make sure you trim down your weeds and grasses. For those who like water, algae blooms are starting to come up. Manaway's got algae blooms. Twin Lakes has got algae blooms, or Swimmer's Itch, and some of the other places are getting algae blooms. So it's coming on fast with the heat. In October, there will be a solar eclipse, and I don't know exactly the time frame of that, but again, that's wise for people to pay attention to that so they don't ruin their eyes. Mosquito abatement's extremely important this year, as they have detected some West Nile virus in some areas and malaria in Texas and also down in Florida. And so they don't know. They're watching mosquitoes quite closely. They're doing quite an abatement out in the Benson area, checking mosquitoes, see what kind of situation we're dealing with. Rocky Mountain Power is having a disaster training tomorrow, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Regarding wildfires. Rocky Mountain Power has also got grants coming up, and I'll get more details on that, for people who have medical conditions that rely on electrical power. And so when the power is out, Rocky Mountain Power is proposing a program to be able to supply them with power for their medical conditions. Between cash and box elders, about 2,000 people that have to depend upon power for their medical conditions, and we will work through states and wards to try and find out who those people are, so that Rocky Mountain Power can get the materials to them, things they're going to provide for them. CERT training will be in North Logan from September 12th through October 5th. Anybody who's interested in CERT training, this is Citizens Emergency Response Team. We again will be taught September 12th to October 5th. And Bill told me of the LDS Church. They're working on a program that's called Whole Community Response, so that it works through their self-reliance managers, so that there's a coordinated effort through the whole community to be able to help people in needs in emergency response time.
Thank you. Yeah.
Everyone else is reporting on cash mosquitoes, so I don't need to. They did make it into 2 news articles, KSL and Herald Journal. For the great work they're doing. Mosquitoes have gone up 60%. They've got 2 new drones they spent a lot of money on, so the drones are going out and covering lots of acreage. That's good.
I saw the one article, and it said the drones were dropping. It's not a powder, it's little pellets that they're dropping.
Some of it's supposed to last 21 days, so I don't know if they're sprayed. They probably spray every Tuesday. I just had citizen questions. I guess I should say neighbors, since it's near my house, but they were just curious about the length of construction on 400 East. So I don't know. They heard rumors that it would take 3 months to finish it. So I'll ask, but it's asking about 400 East construction and the road being closed and how long it will be closed.
At that point, 3 to 4 months is probably realistic. We have to put in a new water line and redo the road. So yeah, we're working as fast as we can though.
I just checked out the new website. It looks good. I found my face on there, so one of my goals checked off right there. Been about a year and a half. So, thanks. Looks good. That's all.
Okay. Just as far as my report is concerned, I'm continuing with the land conservation. We've got um, people in the northern and the central and the southern part of the state that are trying to conserve their land. We'll be going out on site visits for people that want to do that. So that takes up some of my time in the chamber, trying to get them, help them get more membership. They provided an excellent service for us, county and this community, and so we want to support them. And also, I wanted to read an email that I got. It says from a happy taxpayer. And so I want to read this. This is Robert Rich. And the whole time I was reading it, I was afraid maybe I was going to hear a but in here, but I didn't. It was a wonderful letter. It says, I bet you don't see that very often. I'm so happy to live in Providence. When you decided to get fiber, I was excited. When it came, I was elated. The process tore up my front lawn a bit, but I just figured it was part of the process and it was okay. And I was okay with it because I have fiber. I kept telling myself next week I'll fix the lawn, but the life kept happening and I didn't get to it. Then one day I look out and see the city has replaced sod where my lawn was torn up. I was amazed. Thank you. I'm so impressed that Providence has the integrity to clean up after the work, after doing work, even though it was something that I was willing to live with. Thank you, and please tell your crew what a great job they did. They've always been so friendly and helpful whenever I talk to them. Kudos to your hiring crew. They've done a great job. I really appreciate the workers. You've been willing to answer my questions. All the best to you and your committee, Robert Rich. So it's nice to hear those positive things. I think a lot of people are having very positive experiences here in the city, but don't take time to sit down and write a couple of sentences or a paragraph to let us know how they feel about it. So we appreciate having that feedback, and we'll share that with the rest of our crew and our contractors that are working with us. So with that, I'll close the council reports and go to approval of minutes. I'll entertain a motion. Approve.
I'll abstain from these minutes. I did read every word, but since I missed last time, thank you for excusing me.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from Wednesday, June.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a second. Any comments? Anything that needs to change on? Improved? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? I guess I need to ask that just to make sure. Okay, so the minutes stand approved. We come to the part of the agenda where we have public comment. Citizens may express their views to the city council on issues within the city's jurisdiction. The city council accepts comments by email and by text. So I will open the floor now to anyone who has comments on anything other than is on the agenda. Okay.
Thank you all for your service. The noise ordinance here in Providence, 6 a.m. people can start making noise. I live next to Brent, and the bowl down there where you have the city offices is a natural amplifier, just catches the sound. There was some work being done on construction of a new building to the south next to Vaughn's Park, and they were hammering, put in the forms for the cement, and it sounded like it was Frank Berman, my next door neighbor, doing it. Just I got up and walked out. And I think there's been several studies that have been issued that sleep is so important for people. My wife has a heart condition, and noise, I think most cities have several, and I just would encourage you to take a look at it and talk to Ryan about it. And he wants wants me to fill out a form and draft some language and submit a $500 bill, $500 fee. And I just think it's not that difficult, not that complicated. I guess you just consider it, take a look at it. If you want me to provide the sleep studies that come out, I think the medical evidence is important. Sleep is just as important as diet and exercise. If can't accept that, then I'll get the evidence for you on it. I think it's important. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Yeah,
That
Joe,
would be free to leave. Was this prior to 6 a.m.?
I thought the noise ordinance was 7, so I don't know if it was prior to 6 or not. I can't say.
I will look into it.
I know it was prior to 7, and I talked to your public works director. He was really nice. He corrected me. People like to correct me when I'm wrong. So, which I am, and I don't. City was really good. I just think I think people in general either sleep early in the morning.
thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Neil Varner on 285 North, 100 East. And the property that they're building on, just north of us on 350 North, it's gotten to be a real problem, especially with dust. And they built a pond about 100 feet long and 50 foot wide. That's got mosquitoes in it. And there's a big berm around that pond, but no fencing. There's kids that come visit that pond. If one of them falls in, they won't be able to get out. That's help. So I'd like to see something done on that. The noise. And I've noticed that where they used to pull in where the road used to go in, now you can go down a little bit further and it's more flat, but that has sunk 3 to 4 feet. And they have a big, 4 big trucks full of rocks yesterday to kind of coat that over again. Everything is going down. So I need to place you that pond that they've got. There's 3 different sources of water that are still pouring into that and will continue. There's no way to stop the springs. That pond is really something that should be looked into. I call it Monday report. I don't know.
Was probably Rob, but it would be he's talking about a detention basin over by the Robbins development, and detention basins will accept water, and then what they're intended for as far as stormwater is to slow that water and have a release. So this would have that effect. It will drain. It just drains slowly. So it shouldn't be a constantly standing water, but there will be water coming in, and then it slows it and drains it out. So we have lots of detention ponds around the city, and none of them are fenced. So
The pond is there's no dry area in it now. It's completely filled, and I don't know. Water has risen in the past couple of days, so that's all I have.
I would suspect that it's probably full now because that's irrigation water that it's the overflow that comes at the end of the ditch over there.
could be tip water.
One more item on that. There's caterpillars and bulldozers. Dust down there has just gotten terrible. The Barrett's homes that look right next to the northeast corner of that property, their house and their garage and their cars, and trucks, trailers, just covered with dust. And it blows over to our house too. Luckily, we get some east winds or southwest winds coming in. He's kind of away from our house, but we still do get the dust. But it's really gotten bad. We really need a water truck or something to calm that down.
Right,
That way, when that happens, instead of waiting until the council meeting, if you'll call us, Colton Love is our stormwater inspector, and he would be the one to be able to respond very quickly to make sure that they're following their pest control and their stormwater permits, and that you could call and report it directly to him, and we can work on that in a quick basis.
Thank you. Any other comments? Scarlett, do we have anything on?
Not that I'll check again, but not a few minutes ago, no.
Okay,
Yeah,
great,
you didn't.
thank you. I'll close that portion of the meeting and go on to item number 2, COG funding application. Providence City Council will take comments and questions regarding the city's request to apply for COG funding for spot improvement on the 100 South roadway between Highway 165 and Gateway Drive here in Providence. And Ryan, I'll let you address that.
If I can speak on it just for a minute before the public has it, that would be helpful. So what we've done here, 100 South is a minor collector road. 3 years ago, we widened from 200 west, eastbound, we widened that up to the standard along with the other streets in downtown. This year, we have widened and completed the stretch between Gateway Drive and 200 West. And so that leaves us a small section between Highway 165 and Gateway Drive. We have 2 properties here. And what we're looking for is just to go to the COG and ask for spot improvement money, which would include right-of-way engineering and construction. That's what we'd be interested in looking for, so that we could purchase right-of-way, widen the road, and complete the stretch so that the stretch is completed from SR 165 all the way into, I forgot how far we went, First East, something like that. So we have just 2 little pieces left in that, and we're not ready for a lot of our other COG projects, which might include roundabouts on 200 West. There's a few other projects we'd be looking for in the future for COG, but this one we thought, you know what, we might be able to eat this little piece of the elephant if it so worked out. And maybe it will, maybe it won't, but we wanted to bring it to the council for discussion in case you're interested, and the public for discussion. So that's where it is, and that's what we're looking to apply for. If the public's okay and you're okay, so.
So the public, the COG is the Council of Governments. So it's the governments here in the Valley, and we need to get this on the list in order to get it done. And so one of the requirements is that we have a public hearing on it. So if there's anyone that has anything they want to say about this, Kendall, did you?
Yeah, I'm Kendall Pace, and I don't really have any comments. I have more questions, but a lot of the questions are already answered. But I was just curious how much money that you're looking at from this grant.
So the grant max is at 300,000. So that's what we'd ask for. And we think that should be able to cover all of it. If we don't use it, then we'd give it back. But 300 is the max application amount for a spot improvement for the COG. So 300,000
Per request.
per spot improvement. Now, we have other type of projects that are listed and they can be more, but a particular spot improvement that this would be, that's the limit. So.
And we have to get it a public hearing in order to get it on the list. And we can't get funded in this.
Yeah. I think I have pretty good understanding where the money comes from in the first place, but I thought maybe you could explain it a little bit better to me or to the public where this grant money comes from.
There's a few funding avenues. So there was a tax for congestion mitigation. So part of the funding for the CMPO and the COG come through a congestion mitigation that is on top of the sales tax. It's part of the transportation tax, I believe. I could be wrong.
So there's there are state dollars involved.
So, and then there's state
As well
dollars.
as
So,
federal.
some county tax, and then there is an allotment from the state that comes into that. But the first bucket is probably a piece on the sales tax that is being collected by the county.
The last question is, if we have that available to us or possibly available to us, has it been evaluated as to where the best use of the spending of that money? Because I'm sure we're not unlimited on the amount of money that we collect.
So we do. We look at that. We have one on our larger projects that aren't spot improvement ones. Those projects are throughout our transportation master plan, and so those that would be congestion related, so minor or major collector roads, we would focus dollars and applications on minor and major collector roads. So any residential road, we wouldn't one be able to qualify, or two we wouldn't apply for. But these are only minor and major collector roads. Just road infrastructure work. It's because it's congestion, it's driving, it's yeah, that's what this one is.
Study and evaluation, then the process of determining.
There's a process that goes through a lot of them. But this one, it was identified as our minor collector. This is the point at which it narrows in that road, and so it's just where the road narrows in these two lots.
So we have our road master plan. So it's not just Ryan throwing a dart when he's like looking at grants and stuff. So like with for example, the park grants that he's been writing and getting and working on, because we have these plans, he has priorities in place that show the people who are looking at the grant applications that these projects have been pinned as a priority to Providence for some time. And so that's how come he selects these projects, because of the different studies that have been done showing priority of projects. So there wasn't a study done necessarily on this specific spot, but it was a major study done on all of the roads in Providence to pinpoint what was the next most priorities over the next 10, 15, 20 years, so that we could prioritize and have a master plan.
Is there a way I could?
Yeah, it's all on the website. So there's a road, there's a sewer, there's parks, hundreds of pages on all of them.
I like that. I like all that. Take a look at that. It's pretty right.
Well, the Council of
I
Government.
guess my concern is that the city spend the money in the best possible place that we can, and make sure that we look at all of our options and make sure this is a priority that surpasses some of the other priorities.
Well, there's money out, there's money available. We put in our project and it's voted on by all of the cities in the Council of Government. So they look at the priorities for all the projects that are on there and determine which ones to fund. So just because we put it on the list doesn't mean that it's going to happen right away.
So it's a collective decision on
Yes.
our priorities as a city. Is that
The money that the grant that we're going to get is going to come from the Council of Governments, but there's a priority ranking for the Council of Government as well.
most of this money is collected through sales tax and part of it's from the state as
And federal.
From the county side. So this isn't us taking our sales tax that we collect for the city. This is county sales tax collected at the county level that is part of that. If, for instance, we have this year, one of our projects is along 300 South, and we have one property owner that is developed. He has a house, but at that point, we're going to come in and widen and complete this road so that it can finish a trail and have the sidewalk and a bike lane and that. So that's a piece. We look at our minor and major collector roads that are identified in our transportation plan. And we look for spots that are possible weaknesses, possible areas that as development grows, where's the 1 week missing link to make that traffic be able to flow in and out. This would help because SR 165 is our busiest road. Gateway Drive is one of our next busiest roads, and to connect those without having that jog in and then come back out. Just be able to complete that is what this is really focused on. But if we don't apply, we won't get anything. This is probably the only one we can apply for at this point within our list of priorities. So certainly we don't have to apply.
So on the website, if you go to government, laws and regulations, master plans, then there's a list of all of the master plans, and you can see the priorities that have been set up all through studies. So it's not just randomly choosing projects. It's very, very seriously considered.
Again, I wasn't suggesting that anything, but I was just curious that it was on the agenda, but it wasn't really described it well, so I was trying to find out more about it. Appreciate your answers. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other comments? I'll close that portion of the hearing. We don't take any action on that. We just come back later. Tonight, we're really pleased to have Next Meters with us. If any of you have gone in the roundabout that's over by the Stake Center, Next Meter is building a beautiful Class A office space over there. They have located in Providence because they want to be here. We're thrilled to have them here. They're going to be a good corporate citizen. And I got an email from them the other day that said, we have an award for you. Can we come and bring it over, or can we meet? And I said, gosh, let's do it in our city council meeting so that we can get lots of people hearing and seeing what's going on. We love our businesses that locate in Providence and want to be a part of our community because, of course, we're up here not because we get paid so much, but because we like our community and we want to make sure that it stays viable and vibrant. So we have with us Adam Paul, who is the CEO. And so I'll turn the time over to you right now. We're gonna have a cabinet just to put that in. That is so cool.
We're pretty
It is,
excited
it's
about it.
beautiful.
Just a little background real quick. We actually have been located in Providence for a little while. We're in the building just behind the Megaplex Theater. Next Century has been around for about 8 years. It's truly a started from the garage company. It was where it started. I am one of the founders and CEO of the company. We have about 32 members that work with us, all located here. I've been extremely proud of the level of team members that we have as far as creativity, design, and really just creating neat solutions. We have one of the best teams that I could ask for. We're really proud to be here in Providence. We truly do see ourselves as one of the leading or technology leading companies in our industry and in our field. And we're proud to be doing that right here from Providence, Utah. Going to give a little bit of background on us. Next Meters is the company, the larger company. Next Century is our sub-metering system. Sub-metering is similar to utility metering for gas, water, and electric, but it's specifically designed for multifamily homes, commercial buildings, high-rise buildings, where utility companies come in and put one utility meter for the entire property. We design the individual meters that go into each individual tenant's units, collect the individual usage for each tenant. We wirelessly collect all of that data and then run some analytics on those and distribute that data to the billing companies that then distribute the bills. Traditionally, without sub-metering, the way that those types of properties are dealt with. You can think of the apartment complex just up the road from us. Without a sub-metering system, there's one utility, one water meter sitting on that entire property. The water utility company will provide a water bill to that one property, and then it just gets divvied up evenly among everyone. It's not a very fair process. For instance, if you live in a unit and you're gone for the month and your neighbor likes long showers, you get to pay for your neighbor's long showers still, right? It doesn't promote conservation at all. And so a lot of regions throughout the world are mandating sub-metering needs to happen. That's where we step in. Sub-metering is difficult because you've got to get a lot of meters in. You've got to be extremely cost effective with putting those meters in. And most importantly, you have to get all of that data. So in the last 8 years throughout the US and Canada, we've installed about 2 million meter points throughout the US and Canada. We're continuously monitoring that through our system. We're collecting all the individual wireless meter reads. We collect 1 billion meter reads every 20 days from our system of meters. We design everything in-house. So from the wireless protocols to the equipment, to the manufacturing equipment where we manufacture all this equipment, to the websites, the mobile apps, to the servers that host all this data and run the analytics on the data. It's all designed in-house with our 40 team members. On that data, we then run some really deep analytics that are looking for different ways to conserve, including leaking toilets. Leaking toilets use up a lot of water. They waste a lot of water, I should say. And we're one of the leaders in finding those leaking toilets and resolving it. But stepping back to just sub-metering. Sub-metering really helps with conservation. Conserving or conserving our water and our utilities is kind of a big deal. Right now, we want to be the leader in that. EPA released a study that shows that by installing sub-metering equipment, there's a 20 to 30% conservation that happens by people being billed for just what they use, not some average numbers. 20 to 30% average conservation, average savings. So in 2022, we metered 92 billion gallons of water. And according to the EPA study, Next Century was able to promote the conservation of 23 billion gallons of water. And so that's what we're here to congratulate Providence City on, is helping support us as a technology leader in the industry to help promote that level of conservation. Honestly, when I saw 23 billion gallons of water, it's like, I got to figure out some way to equate that to something that makes sense in my mind. So I started doing a little bit of research. First one didn't help a ton. And it was, well, just an average faucet. If I turn it on, how long does it take for 23 billion gallons for the amount of water we save to go through that faucet? Average faucet, if you turn it on, leave it on full blast, it'll take 22,000 years for 23 billion gallons of water to flow through it. So, okay, I need something a little bigger.
None of us have that kind of time.
Exactly. So I need something a little bigger. So Olympic-sized pools, they take about 660,000 gallons of water. So we could fill up 35,000 Olympic-sized pools with the amount of water we were able to conserve this last year. So I needed something still a little smaller. And so turned to Hiram Reservoir. So we could fill up Hiram Reservoir completely 4 times with the amount of water we were able to help conserve in 2022. So we're trying to get that. We really appreciate the support we get here in Providence. We want to be a key member here in Providence and help support what we have going on. We recently realized we needed a little more space and some room to grow as the company continues to grow and as what we're trying to do continues to grow. And as we look for different locations, we were able to pinpoint this location in Providence. And so we're excited to be here in Providence for a very long time, and then want to be great members here in the community and appreciate your guys' help and support. So, without further ado, here's the trophy. It's a custom glass trophy that we had made, and it shows that Providence City helps support the conservation of 23 billion gallons of water. There we go.
One other thing on that, keep in mind, for all residents of Providence, for the entire year, we use less than 1 billion gallons for 100% of our residents. And for over the entire year, we use we use just under 1 billion gallons of water. So that is 23 cities of Providence for the entire year. Did you say? So anyway, put that in perspective.
And I was just going to mention that you are committed enough to bring your team, some of your team members, to witness this. And so thank you. We appreciate that. We love having you here in the city, and we love that we could have you do this in our city council. That worked out really well. Thank you. I do want to mention that when I went over to visit with them for a few minutes, I did ask them if they would sponsor our drone show for our sauerkraut celebration. So, yes, it's awesome. So this is the first big drone show in Cache Valley, and we're going to have it in our city. So we'll close item number 3 and we'll open up item number 4. We've got Nicole Bone here, who's co-chair of the Sauerkraut Days, and she's going to tell you all about what's going to go on.
For me again. I'll start by saying, does anybody have a question right now? No? Okay, well then I will just go ahead. We started a media packet with the help of Mayor Alder and my suggestion, and it's going well. I did want to share, because I think sauerkraut is the most important thing. This is the new label that will go on the bottles.
Turn around and show what
everybody do. I have a few, so I will pass one around. You guys want to check that out? Again, John Mayer, the owner of Bear River Bottling, has been amazing. And with the help of a local resident, we have gone back to the traditional recipe of sauerkraut, just the bare, sure, French stuff with the salt and the just using cabbage and salt and water. So yeah, a little raw, yes, a little draining off the
little fermentation going on.
Well, that is what he's doing, and so that will be available. We'll have we have to purchase the bottles first with those labels, so we'll probably have 400 jars of that available, and then he'll have his stock with just his label on it. But we'll have plenty to sell. No, yes. Again, we are so grateful for next meters, yes. The drone show is going to be a huge deal. I mean, again, nobody has had one here in Cache Valley, and we will be able to. The drone show will be displaying their logo inside, which will be amazing to see. And then I guess we could start out, but with Monday, August 14th, we'll start with our sauerkraut can hunt. It's going to be amazing. It's kind of going to be like a geocaching where there will be prizes for everyone, but there will be one can. So that will be the big prize. But throughout the day, people can go and find it as well for a little price.
It's not through the city celebration social site. Question.
Well, last year again was our first year doing it, and it was through the social media. But
Brian, will you pull it up on pull up the schedule on the
I'm working on it.
Oh.
Oh, is it? Yeah, it's listed here. I was gonna say, how can you go to your email?
I think what we did was we did it through the texting, through the city text as well, and the city website. So people this year as well. The downtown historic tour will be again Monday, but this year we're going to do a tour of all the new plaques in the city, as well as some homes throughout the tour.
And Cache Valley Transit has agreed to supply a transit bus, and it'll pick up people at the old Rock Church.
Yes.
and they'll drive around and they'll stop at each of the plaques. We'll point out the homes. We have a home tour. It's a flyer that has information about each of those historic homes. So we'll pass that out. People can go back individually and look at those homes, but we will let them out of the bus to go and read the plaques because they're a new thing that we've got here in the city. So,
and I'm hoping to have, again, the historic, they'll be there at the Old Rock Church again with a table. We'll have some cookies and some waters like we did last year. But people will be able to stay and talk about Providence history. So
last year we were blown away by how successful it was. We had about 200 people and they were there.
It was full.
Yeah.
And that will be a yearly thing that
Will there be somebody on the bus, like, talking about?
yes.
A tour guide,
Yeah.
like Nicole.
Oh,
You
no,
just had two
no, it'll
pictures.
be Howard Christensen or definitely one of the stories.
Yes, and it's started.
Did you help with tours last year?
I did walk. I did know a lot of the houses, but the plaques are like Howard's. So pickleball tournament again is Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday is going to be our parade starting at 5:30 p.m. And then that's. Did you guys want to have a booth there that night? Possibly as a city?
For the city.
City in the.
Let us talk about it.
Okay, perfect.
A booth?
Well, just a spot for. I just kind of thought possibly,
Like
Yeah.
tomatoes. Like a stand.
maybe.
It's the Jeff.
Sit there and I sit.
People throw tomato.
Booth stand.
Oh, it's
Even like
for charity, city council member. Oh, there's.
Now that's enough
We
of
won't
that,
make
Carrie.
it. Here. There.
We can talk.
I'll brainstorm it. Sorry.
And then Thursday night again is our big starting of our celebration with the festival. And then Friday, we are going to do a traditional sauerkraut dinner. So and then that night we'll have the band, and then also, just like Carrie had said, the youth dance will be sponsoring a youth dance. Saturday, we wanted to kind of change things up a bit. There will be nothing in the evening on Saturday, but we're doing the fun run and the breakfast. And then we have the Ridgeline Marching Band is going to, as a fundraiser, do the breakfast for us, but they will have the drum line perform. And then we added on the bottom of this a ping pong ball drop. You guys ever heard of those? I recently went to one in Bear Lake and it was, were you there too? It was pretty amazing. So we won't be doing it from a helicopter like Garden City did, but we will be doing it from the city's bucket truck. Oh, no.
I thought you were gonna do it from Ryan's plane.
Didn't ask.
No.
Do you have a pen?
He does.
Well then, yeah. Or this year, who knows?
If there's a breeze, they might not. have
Sorry,
been
I'm
apart.
just talking so much.
No. No. Again, Bear Lakes didn't turn out so great because there was a breeze and it was kind of, the bucket truck will be great. But now that I know that. So we're trying to, the ping pong ball drop, we thought would be fun and a way to get people to this breakfast, to support Ridgeline and get people there for our last little hurrah. So.
And this doesn't reflect our major sponsor, and that is, this is an old, the one he's got up here.
That is an old one.
So
This is the new one. And I will give you this. So in our media packet that we will be sending out to everywhere, it'll be all over. We did include a brief history of Providence and Sauerkraut Days. And then we'll be doing like event flyers in it as well. In fact, we'd be more than happy to do a next year's flyer, like something like that in there, or
one thing that-
Come up to the mic so we know.
Oh, yeah.
A name at the mic
We
and
have
then
to
we
put
put you
your
on
name in.
record.
Dan, Casey Jorgensen. As somebody who enjoys pickleball and maybe running, if you do it, I was looking for your online registration. I can find it anywhere.
It will be available August 1st.
Okay. I didn't see anything about that either. But it doesn't mean it's
To
not
warn
there.
you that it would be up on the
Yes.
first. Okay.
So anyway. A little box.
Thank you.
Thank you for that suggestion. because
We'll take all kinds of
Mhm.
suggestions.
In
Because
fact,
this is year number 2. So as for this format, you know, it's been, the celebration has been going on for a very long time. But we plucked it out of the jaws of death and we are now trying to figure out what's working
and got some
best.
amazing volunteers, right?
Oh.
So-
We have incredible volunteers and incredible chairs. We could not do it without them.
Well, I will get on that. And but even if we put it on the website, that it will be available starting August 1st. Great.
Is there, I know last year you highlighted residents. Is there a time you plan to do that?
So we are not necessarily highlighting a
Specific resident.
no, but we are, our grand marshal this year is Mayor Alma Lenhart. Alma Lenhart, sorry. So, and he is beyond. excited to do that.
Perfect. You're awesome. So
Before
much
you
work,
guys
hours
go.
and hours
Yeah.
and hours. of
Where do you want us in the
preparation. We appreciate
parade?
you.
At the end or in the middle or the front?
Yes.
You know what?
And
You need Ken.
just a question about the run. So I went to that, I support that, I'll be there. I know people who are crazy runners, I shouldn't say crazy, that's the wrong word.
Crazy.
They love to run, they go to all the races in the valley. They show up and they're ready to go and they're trying to get a PR and there's no clock and timer and it's kind of old fashioned. I was just curious. I know it's
This year
year
is
2.
different.
What's different this year about the run? There's a 10K.
There is a 10K, so there's a 5 and 10K, and then a 1K, just a family walk, kind of sort of thing on it, the mile. But James Swink is now over the fun of the runs, so there will be a clock. There will be.
Even if it's small.
Oh yeah.
And when they get there, they're ready to run at start time.
Okay.
Anyway, that's
That's
just
good.
my 2 thoughts.
James Swink has us on.
Okay.
He's like,
I'll be there too. I'll support.
Are you gonna run, Jeff? Are you a
I
crazy
don't-
runner?
No, not on roads. Up in the mountains, but
Even
Well,
crazy.
I won't know until that morning.
we'll have more official prizes again, just like Mayor Alder said. Last year was the first year of.
Prices for,
Yeah. We'll get better prizes this year.
I'm not criticizing at all either, I'm just asking.
Well, and we do have a really special prize for the bags. Every runner will get a shirt, a runner shirt. So that's different this year. As far as signups for all of you guys, because you were so supportive last year, just kind of think about it maybe next, well, probably in a few weeks. If you can just tell me what days you can come on, that would be awesome.
I'll be there every day.
Okay.
Only day I have a conference Wednesday.
Yes.
Oh, and that's pickleball. They'll be okay.
I'll be okay. We'll be here if anybody wants to come to the council meeting for sauerkraut celebration.
Okay. That would be awesome.
So as you need things, let us know and we'll help anyway.
I
that
do
we
have a
can.
question for Brent, so that
Yes.
he probably can answer. So doing this Providence history and just kind of summarizing a few things, I came across several documents from, like, Doran Baker has a lot of stuff out there that's phenomenal in the book. There are 2 dates of when Providence dinner started. It was either like some people said 1910 and one said 1920. That's a really random question, but I put 1910 because that was from Doran.
I really don't, but I would bet it was. I don't know how expensive it was, but it was the way they raised people. Probably.
Yeah, well, I put 19, so that's what we're gonna go with.
You probably have.
So it's
pictures
official
of the
now.
old
It
rock
is.
church.
Yep. Okay,
Nicole, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you for coming to share with us. Thank you for all they've been working on this all year, trying to get everything laid out. So if you need more volunteers from everyone, I will put the word out and get more
Well, the
volunteers.
city was great. Council, everybody was wonderful, and that's what makes celebration so amazing is when we all work together. So awesome.
Thank you. Okay. We'll close that portion of the meeting. We don't have any resolutions or ordinances or contracts. Other business study items, so we'll go right to the staff reports. We'll start with, we mix it up. City recorder, hi.
I have nothing to report unless you guys have any questions.
I don't have the website. We're still working on.
Any little thing, we're just,
I like it.
Cleaning it up.
Good.
oh, yep.
Good. Thank you. Rob is not here this evening. Is there anything that he needs to
I'll
report?
put on a
Okay,
report.
you'll do it. Okay, community services. Got it?
Our water and income housing progress report is due on August 1st. And I've been in contact with the folks at Division of Workforce Services that review that. I've sent them a draft of how we're proposing our report. They should have their review back to me in the next few days. And once we get that back, then I can go online and get it submitted, and hopefully they pretty much like what we told them, which they probably won't, because I was a little critical of it.
Scarlett, Ryan and I were talking about this today, about moderate income housing and the amount of housing that's required. Has the state given us any kind of a goal or a way to measure this, or
No.
it's just, let's do moderate income housing? I've not seen anything.
That's actually one of the things they asked how they could help, and that's one of the things that Ryan and I had talked to, and that's always whenever they've done in a training or something, I think it even is the first option in the code is to zone to encourage moderate income housing, and I have always raised my hand and said, can you tell me what that zone is? Yes, because we can't seem to do it. You all are complaining that because you've got larger zones than we do, and yet you've got moderate income housing. We've got very small size lots that are available and multifamily, and we still aren't there. So I know they haven't been able to answer, but I did put that as a suggestion that they give us a target point, maybe a percentage of units or something compared to non-moderate income housing.
Because how are we ever going to know that we're going to get there?
Yeah, I also did go from a little paragraph about that we've actually been doing everything they've asked for since, like, I think it was in the late, like 1999, when we changed our city code to include 6,000 square foot lots. Do you remember that, Brett? Was that's when I went back through and looked through all my notes and stuff, that's the date I came up with. And Brookside Development was coming, or we had developers that wanted to do that. And we also had Creekside Townhomes developers that were interested. And so we added multifamily. So we have actually been doing this kind of thing for 23 years. And I don't feel like, and I don't think I think we were a little bit unique for the cities our size in Cache County at that time to do that. And then we put mixed use in, I think it was in 2010, which was one of the first ones to do it in Cache County. couldn't get any takers until 10 years later, but we had it there ready when they were ready to come. So I did put a little spiel in that we've been doing that. And as a result of that, about 23% of our units are in the multifamily zone. Now, whether the market allows them to be moderate income housing or not, it's hard to say.
That's the hard part about this. We don't control the market.
No, and that really is what the hard part of it is. But anyway, we'll see how Alyssa likes our report, and we'll go from there. So but now that we've got the moderate income, when August is done, in the next week, when I get her results back and I get it submitted, the next thing that we're starting on is to keep up with the subdivision changes that the state code we have to have in place by February 2024. Once again, we're not as far behind on that as a lot of communities are, because we changed the way we did business back in 2007, I think that's when it was, when they initially came out with land use authorities, and you could designate land use authorities. At that point in time, that's when we took the city council out of the subdivision business and most land use business, except for if you needed to enter into a development agreement that was going to allocate funds or things like that to participate on an upsize or something. And so we've actually been following along pretty good. But this new plan will take forces all of the communities, which appear to be most communities throughout the state. City councils are not involved at final plat, neither are planning commissions. Planning commission can be involved at preliminary, but not at final. That'll be the staff wrapping up what's been approved at the preliminary plat. So it'll take a little bit of a rewrite. It's kind of a domino effect where we change a few things in Title 11, which is our subject, where we start to change a few things there. That's going to impact a few other places in the code that refer back and forth. So there will be some changes to definitions. There'll be some changes to the boards and commissions, a few things like that to make us compliant. So we will be working on that. That process will start putting together a draft on that, and then it'll go through the planning commission and then come to you for approval. And hopefully, my target is hopefully we can get it done in like the next 3 months. I'd like to have it done before Christmas if we can. And then I've also been asked to serve on the Cash Summit Planning Committee. So they've had a couple of initial meetings. They just talked to me last week. And so I will let you know when we get some more information on what their fall summit's going to be like. One other thing I wanted to tell you, I actually contacted the treasurer's, Cache County Treasurer's office, and asked them how many homes, whether I didn't specify whether it was a townhome, condo, but homes, units. We had under $350,000. Most of them are. I didn't get the list in time to go through and count them all up yet, but we have a little bit over 300 and something units throughout the city that the market value. Now that doesn't mean what they probably somebody could get for them, but I was actually surprised that we had a little over 350 units that are under 350,000 in our city.
In the county?
No, in our city.
In Providence?
Yeah, I got the information from Cache County's treasurer, because the property, I'm sure you all got your nice little property tax notice. And when I got that, I thought, oh, they've got the new market values out. So I called the treasurer, Craig, and he was very, very helpful and had that to me within just a few minutes. And so I haven't refined it yet to be able to present it, but yeah, I was pleasantly surprised that we had that many.
They're not for sale, but that's what their worth is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So anyway, I mean, we've got like 2,800 units altogether, so but still, that's doing pretty good. Also, on the recreation side of things, I think I reported that we were closing our fields. They're closed for the month of, been closed. Everything was pushed back because of the long winter that we had. But they probably won't be opening for a couple of more weeks yet. So usually we open them on August, the first Monday in August, but it's going to go a little longer than that. So we want them ready for this sauerkraut days. However, you will see softball players, generally we have a lot of baseball players, but we will have softball players coming to town on the weekend with July 28th and 29th. It's the Cash Bash. They have a tournament. They use fields from Hiram to Smithfield. And so a lot of little girls come to play, kids from as young as 8 up to 18. So if you want something to do, you can go watch cute little girls play softball. We also met with the soccer and the lacrosse people, worked out some scheduling conflicts so that they can share the fields. So we've got that going. Thankful when you watch clients when you park, grab
close those doors.
have a few more fields for them because they just can't. They just have a lot of teams. I can't remember. Do you remember how many kids the soccer people said they had? Thousands.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot. Anyway, so, but that's fun to have them here, and they work well together. And just on a quick side note, we did have a dunking booth a long time ago when Joe Campbell, the late Joe Campbell, but he was on the city council. At the same time he was on the city council, he was a school teacher at Mountain Crest. So he taught photography and something else. Anyway, it was in September. I'm sorry, Brent. Yeah, I think so.
That's what killed him.
It was in September, and it was started out to be nice, and we got a downpour, and I bet the whole Mountain Crest student population stood in a line that went from the cul-de-sac in Zollinger Park parking lot out along the side of the road to dunk him. And they would dunk, and then they would go back and get in the line again. And they paid to do that, standing there in the rain. So yeah, the dunking a council member worked out pretty good for that.
Especially if they're a high school.
Yeah. There you go. So
But it's mid-August.
Hopefully it doesn't rain like that in mid-August, but anyway, it was a fun thing to watch, so. And we are working on the weeds, and we're working on parking, and we're working on painting walls and all that good stuff, trying to keep up with it, so. Thank you. Anyway, do you have any questions? Not, I'm done. Thank you. Yeah.
To add with moderate income housing, and the Senate Bill of 174 change, it eliminates the first step on a concept plan. So you can't require a concept plan, which is really a big help to a lot of developers to get prepped. And it prohibits requiring more than one public hearing. So that's kind of an interesting one for me is I look and say, sometimes we've needed more public input, and the first hearing is kind of getting information out. And as the process develops and changes, oftentimes a second or third hearing might be held. But the state has said, nope, we're going to prohibit it. You only ask for one public hearing. So anyway, that won't be staff or council side, but that's been mandated by the state. That's one of those things that the state response to moderate income housing has definitely been different than the city and listening to the residents. The the state is just saying, well, if the public doesn't like what we say, we just don't want to hear from them. And that's unfortunate. So anyway, it is important to get involved on the state level. If anything else, I kind of do that as a plug. I realize that the council agenda is light tonight, but please understand that from a staff perspective, it's kind of picture a duck on the top of the surface. That duck looks around and is busy, but underneath the scenes, those feet are moving a million miles a minute. That's kind of how we feel. The summer is really, really busy, and we are moving a million miles a minute underneath it. They're trying to get all the projects that we've talked about, we've planned, master plans, all of the work in all of those, the very late night meetings that you've had are now being addressed and worked on in fervor. So
We're implementing.
we are implementing all of those, yes. So to our 2023 road improvement project, we've got Stonehenge opened. We've done the cement treatment for the base. That went fairly well. Actually, went really well. And we're looking probably to pave that within the next week or two. And so that will go really well when we finish Stonehenge. We've started on 400 East. They've gotten out of Center Street, which they had to close for a couple of days, but we will be. So the process will take that water line down. Then they will move off for a little bit. And we'll put fiber down. And then the contractor come back and pulverize and shape the road, and then we'll get it paved. But it does take a process. So anyway, please be patient with us on those roads, and then we'll progress down to the 540, 580, and 75 area. We are working on.
As they were pulverizing the road, some of the fiber optics was damaged.
Yes. So a couple of things we learned. There was one spot that the fiber wasn't deep enough. We have a requirement that the fiber is supposed to be a minimum of 12 inches deep in the road, but their blade is supposed to be 16 inches. So we have a tolerance between 16 and 12 inches that they're supposed to be. There was one spot kind of coming up into a vault or a pedestal that was slightly below that. And so as we've taken off the asphalt and milling the asphalt, because it was shallow, that pulverizer pulled it and pulled it out. That's been fixed. Because it was shallow, anytime it was shallow, that's on Strata to fix. And so they took care of that at their expense. We did have, because of the process of the flowable fill that we're putting in, or the material we're putting in on top of the conduit in the roadway, there was a couple of times, 2 or 3 times, that as they were blading and shaping the road, they caught a hold of that cement and pulled it, and the flow fill, they pulled it and did damage that, but all of those have been replaced. So all of that damage has been fixed and repaired.
Line came to me then, if we had an accident. Fibers down, and we have a warning. These guys about how long we run into this problem.
It's an excellent question. We're in discussions of how long that warranty is going to be for this purpose. So
somebody, I think, expecting from our standpoint, we think goes down the depth that it should be.
We do have random inspections with I go out, I have a tape measure, I go out and you'll find that I run tape. I know Rob does. There is an inspector hired that's supposed to be on it. Sometimes in these rocky areas, they didn't get as deep as they should, and we realized that. The flowable fill wasn't necessarily a depth issue as much as it was the flowable fill attached to the conduit and it pulled it. So we only had in this particular job, we only had one in instance where it was a shallow one and it pulled and strata covered that. We expected they would cover it at least through the time that they're the operator for that 5-year period. If they're the operator, I would expect there'd be anything there. Our process is a little different. So I can go into process with you later to talk how we think we'll solve that in the future. So anyway, there's some learning. I think there's some learning curve as well as other issues. So
I just want to also, anytime you want to close down a street.
appreciate that. We can close Center Street and close 4th East.
Anytime.
But I'll tell you. As long as all of you approve of that. We get as many complaints as we get compliments. That's the funny thing about this business. You'll get a compliment in 1 minute and then somebody chew you out in the next for the same thing. So a few other things we're working, getting our trails ready. We've started on our engineer, got it designed. Our construction management engineers on board. We've met with some people on 300 South to discuss what's going to happen there. We have our kickoff in the next 2 weeks on that project. We're working on our pickleball expansion in Zollinger Park. We're working to finish Alma Lenhart, the field over there. We are about 80% through with the main line of fiber. And so we are making progress there. We're getting more and more connections. And we have issued notice to proceed for the test wells. So we're working on a lot of those. We have visited, and I'll bring it to you probably next council meeting, I hope. We have and are working on a contract with Logan to maintain garbage after October into at least April till we get our trucks. So we're working on that. We are working on acquiring property for a regional lift station on the west side of the highway. Just on that, we also are working on our feasibility study for a treatment plant potential. And so anyway, we've got a lot of things we're working on and making progress. I do believe we are trying to make progress in every department, in every area of the city. So anyway, appreciate your support. If you have any questions.
Please know how much we appreciate you and the rest of the staff and you do, from the city, I sit back in your chair with your hands. We appreciate all of you. Thank you.
And a lot of hours here. Thank you. Okay. Very good. Okay, we don't need to go into an executive session, so I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Motion? Second. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.